screened in the porch within a few months after we moved in the house in 1970. We really enjoy it out here, especially in the summertime. Beautiful view, looking out over the hills, the highway down over this edge. It's pretty private out here on this porch too. It's a great spot to be, especially in the summertime. And the porch swing. We've always had a porch in this family. Porch swing, I mean. I don't think I could ever live anywhere if we didn't have a porch swing. Here in the kitchen, the electric oven over here, General Electric, was put in by my brother Jim when he had the Athens Appliance and Television Company here in Athens. And we're talking about 45 years ago. And the oven is still working in perfect order. These lines I painted on the wall are where actual beams once were, and eventually I'm going to put the beams back up. And the corner over here is sort of a breakfast nook. It's a picnic table that I refinished and print by Utrillo. Throughout the house there are different prints and various paintings. Some are original and some aren't. Over here is the recipe for Dad's Papa Joe's cabbage rolls, and it's written in Lebanese, and so it's a sort of a family recipe, and most people can't read the Lebanese writing, so they don't know how to make the cabbage rolls. Over in the corner, one of my favorite famous paintings by John Millay is the Angelus, which is 2 times during the day in the Catholic Church at noon and 6 o'clock. We stop whatever we're doing and meditate for a minute or two. These are German steins that I got when I was over in Munich, Germany. And over in the corner, I don't know if you can see it or not, is a mortar and pestle which Dad had in one of the early restaurants in Athens, Ohio, when he opened it up in approximately 1912, 1913. And over here from the old restaurant is a straw container. This is a calendar I made for the family for the year 1982, and it's a caricature of everyone in the family, and of course Mom and Dad are in the approximate middle there, their wedding picture. And it's got not only everyone in our family, but like sister-in-laws, their mother and father and their families. Altogether contains about 250 names. And not only does it give the date of birth of everyone in the family, but where their name was derived from, and what day of the week they were born, what time they were born. It was a year-long project. I called it Abraham, Father of a Multitude. Dad was born in 1889. And this is a bulletin board with just different things, news items and everything. Most of them pertaining to the family. And this is an old picture up here of the copy of Leonardo da Vinci's Last Supper. I'm sure it was a wedding gift to Mom and Dad when they were married back in 1920. This is a downstairs bathroom here. This is Monday, September the 1st, Labor Day, 1997. Yesterday, August the 31st, Princess Diana, Princess of Wales, was killed in an automobile accident. The Larry King show is on right now, and he's talking on the telephone to Nancy Reagan, who's reminiscing about her days with Princess Diana.
We see the picture now of them arriving at the White House. Give us your recollections. There's a picture of her dancing with John. Your recollections of her, Nancy?
Well, I thought she was obviously a beautiful young girl, and as I say, the wedding was something that was unbelievable. Ronnie couldn't go to the wedding because it was so soon after he'd been shot, and he thought that I should go because it would do me good to get away and so on. And I was so glad I did go. She was breathtakingly beautiful, and they were very happy. When she came to the White House, it was lovely, it was warm, it was wonderful. I don't know what else to say.
She was quite tall.
Yes.
As you can see, they're taller than you, Nancy.
Yeah, well, everybody is, Larry.
Why do you think so many people the world over love this one?
Oh, I think that they identified with her because she was trying to find an identity of her own. Pardon me?
Yes.
She was trying to find an identity of her own after her problems, and a lot of young people therefore identified with her. You know, a lot of the problems that young people face today, she was facing, and so she became a kind of a symbol to them.
And now a mother gone, 2 children.
Oh, it's the two boys that my heart breaks. My heart breaks for them. I feel so sad for them, so badly for them. And I've gone to see.
Going to the dining room. Hanging on the wall are 2 pictures. The one here of Jesus, and the one over here of the Blessed Mother. I've been in the family since 1920. This picture belonged to Mom and Dad, and it's equally as old. This same print, of course another number, hangs in the Smithsonian Institute in Washington, D.C. That's the grandfather clock striking the half hour, 11:30. Above the grandfather clock is a print of the Pietà, the famous sculpture by Michelangelo. The original is in St. Peter's Cathedral in Rome, Italy. And back to this picture I was talking about. Here it's titled Jesus Weeping Over Jerusalem. The dining room furniture is solid oak. The china cabinet, table, buffet. The covering on the chairs is from an old tapestry which was once used for a tablecloth, and it has Arabic symbols on it and writings. Another wall hanging is this plaque of Jesus, the Blessed Mother, and Jesus, the Blessed Mother, and Joseph, I'm sorry. The doors with the 2 hearts open up, and there's a place to put 2 candles in the candle holders. We light it different times of the year, like Christmas, Easter, holy days of obligation. On top of the buffet is another old tapestry. It has Arabic symbols, Salome dancing in the center, camels, Arabs. View out the window in the evening, looking at St. Francis again, lit up. This is the bar room, or what I like to call the family room. This is portraits of portraits of my aunt and uncle. This was Dad's brother John. Unfortunately, was murdered in 1939 here in Athens, Ohio. And his wife, Aunt Julia, who was Hungarian. Above it is a photograph I took of our old Athens High School. It's now the Athens Middle School. This room is got a lot of pictures, photographs. This is a collage on the wall of things of the past. These are pictures, mostly family pictures, in this showcase here. This is a picture of me and John Glenn when he visited Athens one of 3 or 4 times. This is an old photograph of the courthouse steps. Teddy Roosevelt was in Athens. He's right about in the middle of the picture there on the steps of the courthouse. Signed portrait of Hillary and Bill Clinton. Joan Rivers. This was a feature story in the Messenger when we had a reception for Ethel Wolf, my art teacher in high school and the one who I replaced. Current Today show co-host Matt Lauer when he spoke at Ohio University's commencement. I've got quite a collection of music boxes in the house. This particular one is Gargoyle playing Music of the Night from Phantom of the Opera. This is where we were all born, on Court Street, 39.5 North Court Street. This is the bottom part of the building. Dad leased out the corner to the original Atlantic and Pacific Tea Company, the A&P. And here in front of Abraham Cafe, also Abraham's Candyland, is Dad, Jim, Julia, Charlie, Bill, Mitch. I was born a few days prior to this picture being taken. I'm upstairs with Mother. Paul hadn't been born yet. The year is 1934. This is a picture of Mitch and me. Mitch was, I think, about 4.5 in this picture, and I'm about 2. When John Glenn came to Athens, he actually visited here 2 or 3, maybe 4 times. This is a picture of John Glenn and me taken at Baker Center. This is on the steps of the courthouse back in 1910 when Teddy Roosevelt spoke from these steps. He's approximately the center of the picture, right about there in the center. This is a picture I received from Bill and Hillary Clinton after her visit here at Ohio University in Athens. Actually, she was here 3 times. And this is a portrait of President and Mrs. Bush. Joan Rivers. This is a feature story in the Messenger when we had a reception for Ethel Wolf, the art teacher at Athens High School. I replaced her as the art teacher in 1967. Matt Lauer, the present today co-host, graduate of Ohio University, was here as the commencement speaker in June of this year, 1997. And this is another picture of the Court Street where we were born, showing the entire building. We were all born in the room right there on the corner. That was Mom and Dad's bedroom. This is our dogs, Drupus, Carney, Chad, and Brandy. Below it is a tapestry dating back several years, always been in the home. Several family pictures and portraits on the piano on top. Picture up on top, way up here, is the original picture of that I drew of all the family for the calendar, which I showed you in an earlier part of the video. It's everyone in the family. Even the dogs back there. Right below it is Mom and Dad's wedding portrait. They were married here at St. Paul's Catholic Church in Athens, Ohio in 1920. Julia was also married in St. Paul's Catholic Church, 1948. This is Jim and Julia at a very young age. And this is Mom after Jim was born. And this is Mike, my nephew, and his wife, Nikki. This is Dad, taken in his 40s. And this is back in the background. You can hardly see it. It's Mom and some of the family around the dining room table on North Court Street. And this you can hardly see is Bebe dancing with her son David, my nephew, at his wedding this last May, 1997 in Columbus, Ohio. This picture's going to be hard to see also. It's all the family at our nephew Joe Pate's home and his wife Colette in Westerville, Ohio, this past Christmas. The entire Abraham clan's in the picture. This is Julia and her sons, Joe and Ted. Back in the background is hard to see again, Mickey D., who was Miss Petite USA in 1973. And behind that, Julia during her wedding day and the wedding party. And my niece Dee, she's Mitch and Bebe's daughter. This is a picture they say was the last one taken of Marilyn Monroe. I met her in Hollywood back in the 50s. She signed her autograph on the back of an old envelope. It's on Sunset Boulevard. This is a picture of Governor Rhodes and Bob Hope, was taken by an ex-Athens High School student of mine. And also this one of President Reagan. Lori Lee Schaefer sent this Christmas card She was Miss America 1972, and she was a graduate of Ohio University. She's from Bexley, Columbus, Ohio. She came back for homecoming a few years ago, and this was taken behind the bar of my brother's cocktail lounge, Studio 38 on Court Street. Mrs. Drupus. And Carney dressed up for Halloween one year as Uncle Sam. I've been an extra in several movies filmed here in Ohio, and as an extra, and worked for the casting department, the Ohio Film Bureau. This is a picture I got from Vanna White. I was an extra, about 500 of us, and a commercial for Wheel of Fortune was filmed in Nelsonville, Ohio. And this is all of us, pictures superimposed over the old Athens High School, and our pictures from the yearbook, the arena, and the year we graduated. Jim, Julia, Charlie, Bill, Paul, Ray, Mitch. Family pictures. Room, all the family mementos, photographs, all the albums, scrapbooks. I'm really hoping that someone in the family will take care of everything for all the future generations of the Abrahams. I'm going to focus back in on Uncle John. Earlier there was a glare on the picture, and I'm going to try it again to get a picture of him. I think this one's better. Make my way to the attic. I'll probably have to redo half of this video with better lighting. Now we're up in the attic. This is a sort of a museum all of its own. I'm up in the attic. This is looking out the window toward the back hill. One of my paintings from college days that I did. There's a Drupus. Carney. And this is the Athens High School Hall of Fame, which I started back in the 60s. It used to be at the high school, and when I resigned from teaching after several years, I decided to bring it home because I was afraid it would get destroyed. It's got prominent Athens High School alums who have made a name for themselves on the outside. David Wilhelm, who graduated in 1974, he was President Clinton's Democratic National. The camera went off. Back to David Wilhelm, Democratic National Committee Chairman. And football coach Dick Corey, he's a native Athenian, was the Associated Coach of the Year by the Associated Press for 2 years in a row, and many, many other pictures. Probably one of the most famous people to graduate from Athens High School was Maya Lin. She designed the Vietnam Memorial. over here. This is a design I did for a flag for the city of Athens, but another one was chosen over this one. This is Michelle Diane, my niece, Jim's daughter. Mickey D was Miss Petite USA in 1973. And these are pictures that have hung in the family's business places, the Pizza House and Dexter's and Angelo's. This was the logo I designed for my brothers for the Pizza House, Angelo's Pizza. And all the chairs you see around are another collection of mine. Famous people have sat in these different chairs. The one over on the corner there, Paul Newman, in the old bar on West Union Street, the Star. He went to school here in 1942 for one semester. Paul Newman, right. Robert Redford from the movie Brubaker. And that's one of the uniforms that he wore in the movie. Diana Ross and the Supremes when they performed at the Convocation Center. Betty Davis when she was at the Plantation Lounge in the Hotel Berry. She was passing through Athens on the way from a one-woman show she was doing that year. And over in the corner here, or not corner, but between the other two chairs, Hillary Clinton sat in this chair in Baker Center for a news conference, press conference, when she visited the campus here in Athens, Ohio. President Carter sat in this chair from Memorial Auditorium. Lyndon Johnson. And back in the corner over here are some things from Athens High School I used for our class reunions. Athens High School class of 1951, and some things from the university, Phi Kappa Theta, my fraternity, and a picture autographed by Elvis Presley. And this painting for several years hung in the old Athens High School, and it became real prominent in our yearbook, the arena, because it served as a backdrop for many pictures that were taken of different clubs and organizations at the high school. And this is my rock collection. It's got one rock from every state, every United States, and also some foreign countries. When I was in the military, stationed in Munich, Germany, I was fortunate enough to get to go to 9 or 10 foreign countries. On the dollar bill was written down every city, state, country I ever visited in my life. They even got a chip of the Leaning Tower of Pisa on here. I guess it's people like me that make the Leaning Tower of Pisa lean more and more. I came down the steps, and now I'm going back up the steps to show you the beautiful chandelier at the top. Back in the study was a letter from Claire Booth Luce, who was the ambassadoress to Italy. I met her with a group of military personnel when I was in the Army. This was in Rome, Italy. There's Michelle again, Mickey D, Miss Petite USA. This was the year the house won first place for Christmas decorations. And my brother Jim, who was the Assistant Adjutant General of the state of Ohio for 8 years. He came back to Athens to speak for a Memorial Day service in West Union Street Cemetery. Papa Joe, my dad, behind the old bar on West Union Street, getting ready to serve a customer a draft beer from behind the bar. This is a collection of Christmas cards which I design, make each year. Perhaps one of the The more popular ones I did was the one of Pope John after he visited the United States in 1965. And more paintings or prints, the old Athens, Ohio. This desk I've had ever since I was a freshman in college. Lots of pictures back here too. President Kennedy, Lillian Carter, and one of me with her in the alumni lounge in Baker Center. She autographed the back of a canceled check for me. Paul Newman. And there's even one of Bob Hope here. Forgot to tell you that he, if I can focus in on it, there's 2 chairs up in the attic that he and his wife sat in from the Imperial House in Columbus, Ohio. My brother Paul and I were fortunate enough to meet Robert Kennedy in the Senate building in Washington, D.C. several years ago. This was taken 1 month before he was assassinated. This flag this flag had flown over the nation's capital. Governor Rhodes. This is a picture I took of Dwight D. Eisenhower when he spoke on the OU's campus. And one I took of Senator Kennedy at the time when he spoke in Baker Center, Ohio University. And this here is what I call the Tree of Names. It's another project I did. It contains 18,000 names from everyone around the entire area. I've seen Elizabeth Taylor 2 or 3 times in my life. I was fortunate enough to finally meet her in Washington, D.C. when she was in the play The Little Foxes. And this is an autographed photograph that I received from her. And also have a letter from Elizabeth Taylor when she also at the same time was married to John Warner. And the guest bedroom in a hurry here. I call this the Picasso room because of the prints of Picasso I have hanging in the room. These paintings were done during his blue period. And the famous painting by Andrew Wyeth called Christina's World. Too much light reflection. Okay, we're going to go back downstairs. This is a wood sculpture by a good friend of mine who now lives in Pennsylvania and has started to become nationally known. Her name is Becky Yall. Looking into the living room from the bottom of the steps. This is our corner for our dogs. This is Drupus again, Carney. Sitting outside by the well during a winter scene. This is Brandy.
To the British consulate
Carney
in New York,
again.
as they did in much of the U.S., the people came to pay their last respects to Diana, to sign the book of condolences. So let me visit the British Embassy in Washington. It's extending its hours through Saturday, the day of her funeral. Well, Diana's death is spurring California lawmakers to seek...
Another one of my paintings. I call this one The Sad Clown. Everyone says it's really a self-portrait of me. Clowns make other people happy, but they have sad eyes.
And who should we see about that?
I painted something under the gloved hand.
The
Paparazzis
2 or 3
or the
people have been able to
magazines and
guess
papers
what
who
it
purchase
is.
these pictures and make bounty hunters out of photographers. The same magazines, television shows, and papers that use their pages creating the news, causing altercations, and then filming them. Well, you must be exhilarated. You bought and paid for one of the greatest news stories of the year. And for your success, you should be held accountable.
These are more pictures, photographs on the wall that I've taken over the years of the old Athens. These are mainly of the old Athens Asylum grounds, Court Street, White's Mill, during the big flood of '68, and the monument on Ohio University's campus.
Look at the headlines. Charles can no longer hide. Could St. Diana yet destroy the monarchy? Destroy the monarchy? What's going on? I don't think the end of the monarchy is going off. But the Independent says people do blame Charles. He is, for some of them, a marked man. Some people have blamed him in the way people do, and some people blame her.
This piece of driftwood is really from, I got it out from the top of the hill.
Judge that Charles behaved worse than Diana in their marriage. People always take sides in marital disputes, and the British public took its side.
And the royal family has had a lot of bad publicity in recent years.
On TV, CNN, they're continuously talking about the death of Princess Diane, who I said earlier died a couple days ago, August 31st. Or was it? Wait a minute, Saturday, August the 30th.
There's certainly some fear that without her they'll cease to be popular. But remember, the royal family goes on.
It is certainly not in trouble now. Neither political party would abolish it. Diana, in Hargreaves thinks, showed it how to stay out of trouble.
Diana showed how the monarchy can.
Making a quick switch from summer to winter. It's the first snow of the winter. It's December, still 1997. I wanted to make sure I at least got a few scenes of the snow. The house is all ready for Christmas, and we'll have a special tape just on Christmas. But I want to make sure I got a few snow scenes before we...
Get up on the
President Kennedy. This is Lillian Carter when she was here at Baker Center a few years back, and a smaller picture in the bottom with me in it, talking with her. Paul Newman, signed picture of him. I mentioned before, he went to OU for one semester in 1942. This is hard to see, this one. This is Robert Kennedy. My brother Paul and I were able to meet him in the Senate building in Washington, D.C. just Bob Hope. And this is a letter I received from Elizabeth Taylor when she was married to John Warner. Autographed photos of Governor Rhodes, state of Ohio. And this is a flag that flew over the Capitol in Washington, D.C. Picture I took of President Eisenhower when he spoke at Ohio University. And also President Kennedy when he spoke here, was when he was a senator. One of my paintings of West Washington Street, right off of Court Street. This building here was where my brother Jim had his Athens Appliance and Television Company for several years. And this is the old Hotel Berry, which has been torn down in recent years. It was built by a black man, Charles T. Berry, in the 1920s. He was one of the 10 wealthiest African Americans in the United States. Going down to the basement, show you the sandstone foundation, the original foundation that the house was built on back in 1806. This basement was completely covered with mud and all kinds of debris when we moved in years ago, and took a full summer just to clean 3 feet of dirt off of this basement floor. This is a shower room. This is really my bathroom where I come to take my showers instead of the one upstairs. Washer and a dryer. This is the workshop and all the tools accumulated over the years. Wish I'd had a lot of these when I was starting on the house back in the early 70s. An old telephone on the wall. This is a Corey's monument. Again, we're in Mount Calvary Cemetery. This is the Catholic cemetery in Athens, Ohio. We're going up to the monument where Mom and Dad are buried. Our sister Julia. Also, Aunt Julia, Uncle John, and Uncle Louis. Dad bought this monument in 1939, the year Mother was killed in the automobile accident. All of our names are inscribed on the monument. I'll try to get up closer and see if we can read them. There's Mother, Philomena, born in 1900, passed away in 1939. And there's Dad, Father Joseph, born in 1889, passed away in 1965. Julia, 1924, 1983, and the six brothers, James, William, Raymond, Charles, Mitchell, and Paul. God bless all the people who are buried in this cemetery.